Mrs. Jeter and Charlie. How impactful was growing up within your family to, for you becoming who you are today?
Well, it's the reason I am who I am is, we have a very, very close family, and, I'm a little biased. I think I have the best parents in the world. They're here today, and my sister as well. We're very close growing up, and we were close because we went through some things, right? And you grow closer anytime you have to deal with some adversity. But families, it shapes who you are as a person. You evolve over time. I have my own family now. Hannah, I have 3 girls, and I think I'm a little bit different now than I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And that's all because of family. It's number one to me, and always will be. And we'll get into that later in the documentary.
One of the things that really struck me was listening to Buck Showalter and the moment when he said that your upbringing really prepared you for New York. Do you believe that to be true? What was it about the struggles of growing up in a biracial family and the struggles that you went through as a Black man that prepared you to face what New York is?
Well, I don't think anything prepares you to play in New York. New York is a whole other animal. I felt as though I had the perfect demeanor for playing in New York because I never really got too high or too low. I would say it's just understanding the lessons I learned from my parents, understanding that nothing is free. You're gonna have to work hard to attain any goal that you have, and they instilled that in me and my brain over and over and over. And still to this day, I'm no longer playing baseball, but anything I do, work ethic, those are things that you're taught we were taught from a young age from our parents, and it's the same lessons I'm gonna teach my girls when they get old enough and want to listen to me.
When I was preparing to this interview, I spoke to very important people who really know questions, and I spoke to your nephew, Jalen. And Jalen was telling me that he really wanted to know what you thought about as a kid. Because we all hear, right? Randy, you heard it, that he wanted to be the shortstop of the New York Yankees. And to be quite honest, as a skeptical journalist, I never really quite believed it. I was like, yeah, that's a nice story. But when you see the pictures of, 9-year-old, 10-year-old Derek Jeter with his hat on, and so on, it's true. Can you talk to us about that, about those dreams of being the shortstop for the Yankees? How was that as a kid? Because Jalen asked me to ask you.
Yeah, well, it's just as far back as I can remember. I always would used to joke with members of the media, and they'd say I give the same answers. We talked about this. I said, you asked me the same question. Like, the answer doesn't change. So I had someone came up to me and I told them to come up with a new question. Came back the next day and they said, what's the first memory that you have in life? And evidently, the first memory you can remember is when you're 4 or 5 years old. And my first memory was when my sister was born. I was 5. And the reason I say that is because as far back as I can possibly remember, I was always going to be the shortstop for the Yankees. So it has always been there. And look, I lived a dream.
Randy, do you remember the first time you ever saw Derek play?
Yep.
Tell me about it.
It's opening day '96 in Cleveland. I think any Derek Jeter fan remembers that. And I remember Phil Rizzuto vividly just kind of like gushing about Derek. And when he hit the home run, I was like, oh my God, we're gonna win the World Series. It was just like, I was in high school, and it was just like, that's the guy that's gonna take us there, like honestly. And then he made the over-the-shoulder catch out in left field, and I was like, oh, we're winning the World Series for sure now. It's over. Like, go home. We're winning.
As Yankee fans, it's so easy, right?
Yeah, it should be easy because you made it easy. So, so Cleveland '96. It was just this young guy and it was just like, yeah, he was different. You could tell. Phil Rizzuto was saying he was different, and then Joe Torre was there. And, it's just like, yeah, this is gonna be different. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know if they were gonna win or not, but I knew that they were gonna be good, and I knew that he was gonna be a part of it. And it was just exciting because they didn't really have a guy like that for as long as I can remember, besides Bernie. So, that was my first memory.
You mentioned a very important player, Bernie Williams. We saw, right, what a very group of very famous people speak, and Mariano's there, and Bernie's there, and of course, the core four. And we know Derek and of course my boss, Jimmy Pitaro, feels very passionately about this too, and Derek does too. It isn't only about the core four, and you've been very vocal about this, it's about the Fab Five. Why is it important to include Bernie in that group? And why do you feel that maybe even us in the media, maybe we disrespect him by not including him?
I don't think it was being disrespectful. See, now what you have to remember is the core four, that nickname started after we won in 2009, and Bernie wasn't there, right? So let's start with that. It wasn't like he was left out, but we all would be the first ones to say we wouldn't have gotten an opportunity without Bernie, because as you saw, the boss was known for trading players and getting big free agents, and he didn't have a lot of patience. And Bernie was really the first young player that came through the organization that they gave him an opportunity to succeed. And if Bernie didn't have success, we would have never gotten the opportunity. So we're the first ones to mention how important Bernie was to us.
Randy, yes, Randy, I think you can settle a score for us. Very, very important question. The most important one in the entire thing. Mullet or tree?
Mullet. Sorry.
So if you didn't see the picture, right? John Derek Jeter in front of a tree. We don't really know if the hair is a mullet or is part of the tree behind it.
I'm gonna clear it up.
So here we go.
It's not a mullet, it's a shag. It's a Ralph Tresvant shag.
Derek, would you like to settle the score here?
No, I told him that. It is Ralph Tresvant shag. New Edition fans in here?
Talking about fans, and I know he's going to be mortified that I'm mentioning this, but someone in the house, and he's going to hide, is Yankees catcher Jose Trevino. And the Yankees, this is one of those teams, being around them right now, that one of the things that you guys say in this documentary, and we'll see it further on as the several episodes go by, is that this team that never doubted that they could win. It feels like this team that is happening right now, the 2022 team, has a similar feel. Your reaction to that, how do you feel about watching the Yankees in 2022 and any comparisons to that incredible 98 team?
You got a long way to go to compare to the 98 team.
Okay, you got that?
It's humbly so. I think it's like this for any team. You go to spring training, everyone's optimistic, and then you go through a stretch. How many games have been played? 60? You probably have 60 games. You got 100 games left, and you're going to struggle. It's coming. You're going to struggle. It's how you respond to the times when you're struggling. That's how you can tell more about a team. It's easy to walk around with your head up high and your chest pumped out when you're winning and when you're having success. But you'll find out about teams when they struggle. I'm not saying I hope you guys struggle. It's coming, and it's how you're going to deal with it.
You still root for them?
I do. There hasn't been a day in my life, that's a lie. There's been very few days in my life where I have rooted against them. When we were playing them, we actually clinched the playoff berth here a couple of years ago at Yankee Stadium, but I've never outwardly rooted against the New York Yankees, and I'm happy to know I'll never have to root against them again.
And the level of success that they've had so far, because the numbers, the stats only compare to 98 at this point.
They're winning the World Series.
Bradley said it, I didn't say it. Now one last thing before we open things up, and this is for Derek and maybe a little bit for Randy. Derek, Miss Marsha Cook from ESPN Films, or EP, wants to know this, and I do too. What's left that we didn't make the cut that is going to be in episode 8? The outtakes.
Damn, we could have probably done about 4 or 5 more. I mean, you interviewed how many total people?
90.
90 people in this documentary, and there's a lot of footage, and I'm keeping all that footage. So when I'm long gone, the next documentary will come out.
There it is. Randy, what's going to be in episode 8? Are those outtakes? Did you actually get him to open up and say really how he feels about things?
I hope so, yeah. Yeah, that was the intent, but yeah, we probably could have made 9 or 10, honestly. But ESPN was like 7 is good.
Well, episode 1 is going to be right after the home run derby, and that's going to be pretty fun too. So we'll check it out from LA. And how about we have some questions from the audience? So where are we? So the people who really matter.